Good morning and welcome to the first Tribal Council of day number 4 out here at Can You Survive the Tides of War? We have our players filing in. They just completed an Earn the Merge challenge. So this vote will be a player not earning the merge. Big stakes here. Players now filing into Tribal Council slowly, so that you can be seen by the live stream. Thank you. We have Ale, Dylan, Meg M, Louie, Drew, Dan, Molly, Zoe, Kevin R, Katie, Ty, Alicia, and Cam. Players all settling into Tribal Council with the most chairs we've seen all game.
Wow. All right. Welcome, Mergatory Tribe. I don't know what to call you quite yet. Just to start, this is, I might not be able to get to everyone, so if someone has something on their chest they need to get out, don't hesitate to speak up, okay? Alicia, we're going to start with you. Obviously, congratulations on fighting your way back into the game. How do you feel like you've been able to reintegrate, having missed, a day and a half of strategy, multiple tribals, things like that, into this group right now?
I actually think it's benefited me a lot because out of all the players that were on No Man's Land, I had been gone the longest, so I was like the most removed from the game. So it almost felt like I had more of a fresh start, and I obviously had a lot of information. So I was pretty popular today, which was fun.
Interesting. Okay, so you potentially are viewed as someone who can be an asset and not necessarily someone, who needs to be cut.
Yeah, I mean, and I can't be cut anyway, thank heavens. But I honestly, the second we all got together, I just told everyone, like, I'm a number, I have a lot of information, I'm open to whatever, and I'd love to be part of a plan. So use me as you may.
Interesting. All right, on the flip side of that, someone who can be cut, Zoe, you were given the 13th number, pretty much not a chance you were going to compete in that challenge. As soon as you got that 13th number, I mean, what does that say? Do you feel like that's a sign of where you're fitting in socially amongst this larger group?
I mean, I don't think it came too much as a surprise. I mean, yesterday I was also like one of the last ones picked. Yeah, I mean, I don't really, I know it was a really difficult choice, and I'm not taking it personally. Like, of course it sucks. Like, please don't give me 13 again if that happens again. But I know it was just something that had to be done, and if I need to be at the end of challenges, like, I understand.
Okay. You view it more as something challenge based and not necessarily more relevant to like the strategy or social standing.
I don't think so.
Okay, great. Molly, doing a little bit of counting here. You can see that the vets outnumber the rookies in this larger group here. Do you feel like that is an area where there's going to be a hard line drawn here? Did you feel that as you were doing the strategizing?
No. I think now we've had some time to bond last night, and we really are, looking towards the merge and seeing that as an opportunity to meet new people and strategize with others. So I don't think that rookies versus vets has much to do with it at this point in the game. But maybe there's more than I think. I can speak as a rookie. There's 5 of us left, so that's definitely something that we're aware of, but I'm aware of. But we'll see how that pans out.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it's only one bit of information. Drew, the other kind of major thing is everything that happened yesterday on those mixed tribes. I mean, decisions were made that have ramifications on what groups are here. How much of each individual's decision making is looming large over this tribal?
Yeah, I think it's pretty important. There's just like a lot of groups going on here. There's like the rookies and the veterans, and then there's the three different tribes from yesterday, which were all even going into the merge. And then there's everybody's like individual, like what they want to happen, and not everybody can get what they want every single time. So it's just sort of like this weird scramble of everybody trying to get a chance to feel everybody else out, because some of us haven't even talked to each other before individually. It's only been about like life in a group setting. So I was definitely like, hey, I've never talked to you before. I don't even know what you want to do here. Um, so yeah, we all have our personal agendas, but it's sort of like, can I do that now, or do I have to just go with the group?
Okay, that's interesting that you say it that way. So Kevin, last night you were split into your groups for the food reward, and then you were given the night. Do you feel like, based on what Drew is saying, that there weren't opportunities to connect as smaller groups and make decisions last night, and so today is really the first time you're thinking about this vote?
I think that's pretty accurate, just based on, it was kind of luck of the draw for the most part of what group you landed in. And so, like, if you shake up all the numbers, like, for example, I didn't end up in a group with Zoe or Meg and have not had individual conversations with them yet. And that makes all of this that much more difficult. And then today you're trying to scramble to have those individual conversations. So, yeah, I don't think a lot of us were in those situations with individual people and are trying to have those conversations today, whether they happened or not. Kind of.
Okay. Katie, you're a vet here.
Yeah.
You're given, maybe 13 hours before tribal council is coming today. Are you really waiting until the 30 minutes before tribal to start making decisions?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I think the maybe not as concretely. I think the more concrete decisions are coming in the conversations that we just had, the speed dating, if you will. Sometimes thruples that we had, or whatever you want to call them. No, I think, at least just speaking on my own experience, as soon as we got together, I think yesterday at the actual like big group setting, we had moments where we're all together, we built our camp together, we split off. Not sure how much game talk was actually made, but I think something to always remember is that even the silly, quote unquote, silly things about learning about people's kids, people's siblings, their significant others, whatever, their lives is game, right? You want to ultimately connect with people that you're probably going to want to work with. So very rarely you're going to work with someone who, like, on a outside the game human level you hate. So I think the game is in every single second of every single time we're on this place.
Okay. Meg, the other interesting thing about this tribal is that a good chunk of the folks are immune. So how did limiting your options down to the 7 people kind of change how strategy went? Fewer names can obviously pop up. Is it essentially hey, we have to pick between this group, and like how does that change how you approach strategy?
Well, it was terrifying being on the end of that line and knowing that the odds of me even trying it, and certainly if I got a shot at it, succeeding at it, were nil. So I was like, okay, I'm not going, I'm going to be in the murgatory or whatever. And yeah, honestly, I did like sort of look down the line and go, as people started making the merge, go like, okay. But you know what I thought? I thought that the second half was going to be voting and the first half wasn't. So it was wasted time, ultimately.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, what was the question? As far as
you gave me some good insight there. I'll with that one. So effectively, this sort of is the classic merge boot scenario. You're all coming together for the first time. Historically, we've seen kind of the strategy around that change in Real Survivor. I feel like there was an era where it was always the best player or biggest threat, in the game at that point. But recently, we've seen a lot of, hey, let's all, kumbaya, unanimous, vote out an easy target. Which way do you feel like we might be going today?
I would be surprised if in this large of a group that it's unanimous. So yeah, that would be surprising to me. There's just so many different ideas and things that people are talking about. I've heard a few names, so yeah, I would be shocked if it was like 12-1 or something like that. Yeah, that would be very surprising to me.
Okay, Cam, I assume you felt like you needed that immunity coming into this, but how does that change how you approach this vote? Do you feel like you had more confidence in trying to make things go your way?
Maybe the opposite. It felt like because I'm not fighting for my life, I'm here to listen to what people are saying and just like take in who is being viewed as a threat, and like I can give my input on like how I feel about that, but I'm not like pushing names. I'm just like standing for my people, and that's all I can do.
So you were letting the people on Immune try to fight for their lives and pitch names?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Louis, in that scenario, what are you telling the rest of this group? It's an individual game at this point, right? I mean, what is the argument to keep you over someone else in this game?
That I'm great.
Okay. In what way?
I mean, I think the strategy that just took place felt all very mushy to me. I think because this is kind of the first time that we're testing where everybody's going to fall once we're in a big group. Everybody kind of is saying, hey, listen, I just want to get a buff too. And listen, I just want to get a buff too. I would love a pale purple buff. So I'm in it for the fashion.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, they're lit. Ale, as someone who is going to make the merge and has made the merge, I mean, talk a little bit about how much that means to make the merge, and then understanding that you're about to end someone's dream here just short of that landmark.
Yeah. So this is my third game. I pretty much told this to everyone. My first two games, I did not make merge, and it was just really, really difficult. So knowing that at least I made the merge, like coming into this, I just wanted to make the merge more than anything, right? Like I told my boyfriend, I was like, if I don't make the merge, I don't know how I can like keep doing this stuff, right? Like that says so much about like my inability, because I feel like I'm really good at connecting with people, but people just me all the time. So like being able to like do this is incredible, and it sucks. Like I feel really bad because I convinced everyone this morning that we were actually merging. I was like, they're not that mean. They're fine. And I was like, the jury's moving here and they're doing this and blah, blah, blah. Like, they're not going to do that. And then Dan was like, is your gut instinct normally right? And I was like, no, but I know I'm right. It wasn't. So it feels really shitty to know, like, I know that feeling of like going right before and how bad that feels. So I think there is that emotion of like, I'm about to do that to someone, like something that I felt, and you're right there, right? It's part of the game, unfortunately. It's not our fault, right? It's your fault. It's the thing. But no, it means a lot, and yeah, I'm excited for everyone who is going to be able to make it, and I'm sorry for whoever is not going to.
Okay. Well, you made it.
Thank you. Well said. Unless anyone else has anything to say, Katie, go for it.
So I think subtly for me, there's been some things that's just like slight little jabs, not getting picked for Applebee's yesterday, though still making out with it. Getting the number 11 today, like it's heard. I get it. I'm a person of interest in a way, but you guys can keep running me over, but you're not running over my right hand that I can write people's names down. I'm a person that could be a number and help you out. You can get me out whenever the hell you want, but not now.
Okay. Very impassioned plea there. Anyone feel like they need to respond, or are we good to go into the voting booth with that? All right, we're going to start from the left. We'll start with you, Ty.
All right, all players now eventually going to be making their way over to the voting booth to cast their votes. For those of you that are new to the stream, all the players have to remain silent now that the voting portion has begun. So rather than watch many minutes of silence, it's our time to now go away out of earshot of the players and have a little tea time where we talk about everything we just heard and everything I have heard. So, all right, me and my notebook are gonna walk up our usual hill, hang out in our usual shady spot, and get to chatting. Lots to discuss because obviously there are 13 players. So jump in with questions at any time and I will get to them as I am able. Okay. Just if you want to know, here's my notebook really fast. I have like 4 different symbols. There's like line squiggles to like make sense of everything. It's a whole thing. All right, let me get myself spun around so it's you and me. And all right, hello. So, okay, tons of players coming together, some for the first time, like we were saying. Sorry, it's so windy. My hair having a Beyonce moment. Okay, so William wants to know who is in the best position out of the players who could go out. So that brings us to our kind of group of 4 from yesterday. We have old, new quaddie, I don't know. You'll remember they were the 4 that had kind of banded together yesterday, the 2 pairs of Molly and Dylan, and the 2 pairs of Meg M and Ale that had joined up together and voted out, I believe, Jessica and Maya. So those 4 have now reunited. They are excited. Well, they've, I guess, continued to unite at this grouping, and they are trying to stay kind of like them plus the old quaddie tribe. So old quaddie consisting of Drew, Kevin R, and Dan, along with Molly and maybe Dylan, that escapes me. So of note, the Yellow Sagan tribe no longer has any players remaining in the game. Brad was the last player from that tribe and eliminated it yesterday. So the only rookies left were all on old quaddie together. So that 4 is kind of looking to maybe form a group, pull in a couple more people, and potentially maybe aiming their sights at Katie, who, you know, is kind of viewed as this big threat, made this big idol out move. So we shall see. Within that group, Meg M and Molly are vulnerable. Meg M was the subject of a little of Alicia's information from No Man's Land. Alicia heard from all of those fellow No Man's Landers that Meg M and Cam were running the show, and kind of leaked that a little bit. And last night, Meg M was super stressed upon hearing that, kind of spent the whole night stressed. And I'm told that she, you know, she's been in a position of power pretty much the entire game so far, but I'm told that she appeared a little frantic after losing that power by becoming vulnerable for this vote. So maybe not her usual calm, cool, and in control self today. That does not appear to be affecting her vulnerability though. Both Molly and Meg M seem to be in a good spot and not the target of voters. So we already discussed one target in Katie. Another target that people are talking about is Zoe. So Zoe, apparently, as soon as the group kind of came together and went back to their, group camp for the night, I'm told she was kind of scheming immediately. She was always, and she's also super upset, as we saw, maybe not a little, she was kind of pretending like she wasn't, but super mad that Kevin R gave her the very worst number in this Earn the Merge challenge, essentially sealing her fate as not guaranteed to make the merge. So she is another one people have their eye on. Reminder that yesterday, Ty was kind of eyeing Zoe as someone who's like scheming, gossiping, like spilling tea and always having tea. And was kind of like, about her because of that, whereas Louis loved that about her. Speaking of Louis, there is kind of a loose group coming together of, they're calling it maybe the Gay Latino Alliance, which consists of Dylan and Ale from that foursome that we talked about earlier, along with Louis and Kevin R. So they've all kind of come together. They're feeling particularly like a sense of community with those 4. So I think it's not completely firmed up officially yet, but they're kind of like, hey, like maybe we could get something going with this group. Like, so we might see that be a little bit more impactful in the future. Again, so Dylan and Ale really setting themselves up well. They won a reward last night. They won 2nd place in the group along with Drew and Kevin R. And so they all got to sit down. They kind of talked about their experiences in life and, you know, the different things that they can kind of relate to each other with. And so that group has kind of also firmed up a little bit, just kind of like a, hey, here's this four, and like we really like each other, we really respect each other. So there is that. Let me see. So Kevin R. in that group we have not yet talked about. He and Dan are still super tight from their last tribe together. And Kevin R. seems to think that he has tons of people viewing him as their number one. So Dan, which he is correct about, Drew, who he is not correct about, and Dylan, who he is also not correct about, because Dylan's number one would be Molly. I believe Drew's number one is still Ty from before. Speaking of Ty, he and Cam are two of the kind of floaters on this first vote. They are immune. They are not eligible to be voted, along with Alicia, Dylan, Ale, and Drew. So all six of them not eligible to be voted at this tribal. Cam is who we were just talking about. Sorry, I lost track. Oh yeah, Drew and Ty. So Ty was kind of like, oh, maybe we could do like a rookies versus vets thing. Like maybe we should target Kevin R. But like, again, like kind of not trying to do anything crazy. He's actually worried more about the fact that apparently Katie told Cam that Ty had told her to use her advantage back on day 2 to idle herself. And save herself, and Ty was really hamming up that like he didn't know during that tribal, and so now that he knows that Cam knows, he's a little concerned as to how far that rumor has spread, and I think he's maybe just wanting to lay low and not, you know, get too crazy with things. Cam obviously told by Katie this information because Katie really sees herself as having Cam and Kevin on her side. However, Cam is with Katie but would cut her. So it's just kind of funny to see all these players. It's like this, I don't know, like pentagon of like arrows this way and like, yeah, they're my number one, and that person's like, no, I ain't, I'm over here. And like, so it's interesting how some players seem to have the correct sense in like who's with them and who's not, and some maybe don't. Maybe some people are a little bit better at, you know, faking it for this game. So Katie, of course, being one of the targets of potentially that group of 4 plus more, has like heard her name, knows her name's out there, wants to pile votes on Zoe, who was also talked about. Katie playing up being on the bottom of this group. We saw a little bit of that at Tribal Council, and just, you know, Katie thinking her best shot is maybe pointing the sights of everyone at Zoe. Speaking of Zoe, so Zoe is feeling closest to Cam, Ale, and Meg M. Okay, sorry, that's designated by like a little heart pictogram that I have over here. So Zoe seems to be feeling pretty good with Ale, Meg M, and Cam. Zoe was chosen by Meg M for the challenge yesterday, and because they won reward, they got to go to the Applebee's Bistro, and they spent a long time sitting in those chairs. So that group was Meg M, Alicia, Zoe, Louie, and Katie. So that 5 apparently spent quite a long time after the sun went down, at least like an hour or 2, just chilling in the bistro and like spending time together. So I'm not sure that was as impactful as, again, what we talked about earlier, the Dylan, Ale, Drew, and Kevin R a group that got to sit down, but perhaps we might also see something about that forward. Let's see. Have we covered everything that I have scribbled here? I believe. Oh, let's head on back to Alicia. So Alicia, as we heard her say, she just wants to like be a number, use me. I have info, I'll give it to you. Alicia just wants to be in a majority. Obviously she was, voted out a day and a half ago, like she said, so she really doesn't have a huge alliance group that's formed. However, she did say she does want to roll with the rookies and drop the vets. So that could be fun. And Sean wants to know any notes on the Alicia-Katie relationship after Katie idled her out. So Alicia actually wants to make up with Katie, does not feel any ill will towards her, and is hoping that they can kind of repair that bridge. I saw the two of them kind of like hug after Alicia was able to earn her way back into the game, and it appeared like they kind of had this little like look of reckoning on their faces where they were just kind of like, you know, speaking without speaking with the eyes, where they were just kind of like, hey, like all is well in girl world. So good on Alicia for not holding that against her, and hopefully that is something that can potentially be repaired. Alicia is probably a bigger person than I am, because I might not be nearly as willing to do that right off the jump, but good on her. So let's see. We haven't super talked about Dan a lot. So Dan and Kevin are our number ones. Dan, again, really, really well liked by his swap tribe yesterday. So he's, despite being vulnerable at this vote, not really anyone that we are looking towards. And Slater wants to know, did we get confirmation that Alicia got an advantage at the Applebee's Bistro Award? Yes, she did. So when those players went for their Applebee's Bistro Award, we hid a advantage in amongst the items. It was actually taped to the underside of a cup. So when she went to go pour lemonade for everyone, she found it, and Louis saw her find it. So we'll talk a little bit about that in an upcoming tribal, because now we've got to get back. But it's called the surveillance advantage, and it allows Alicia to walk over to the voting booth with a player and watch as they vote for someone. So it'll be interesting to see how that's used, and I'm excited to see it play out hopefully in future rounds. All right, thanks for the questions, y'all. That was so fun. All right, heading back into the tribal area now so that we can see the votes and see who will not be earning the merge.
Okay. If anybody has a hidden immunity idol and would like to play one, now would be the time to do so. I'll get to the votes. First vote, Katie. Second vote, Dan. Third vote, Katie. Fourth vote, Katie. Fifth vote, Katie. Sixth vote, Katie. Seventh vote, Katie. Eighth vote. The next person voted out of Can You Survive? The Tides of War. And the first member of our jury.
Yeah!
I think it does, Stephanie. I think it does.
The tribe is spoken.
Good luck, guys.
All right, congratulations to Katie on a game well played. We're going to head on out of the tribal council area, still on the live. Congratulations on being the first member of the jury. So exciting. That is the most excited I've ever seen anyone be to be voted out. Can You Survive? All right, we're gonna, we'll head on over to this area of shade. You can make yourself comfy, and then in a few moments, once all the rest of the players have filed away, might be a little longer because it's looking like they're pausing for a photo op. Then it'll be your time to share anything you would like to with our lovely viewers. So,
I mean, it sucks not making the merge. Am I able to talk?
Yes, the
Okay,
drums
I'm
have started, so
I'm processing.
absolutely. Take all the time you need. This is your time.
First and foremost, just want to thank my friends, my family, coworkers that donated. They're the reason why I didn't get out the very first day. Getting that secret advantage was huge, and it kept me alive. I think ever since that, I was just playing with my back up against the wall, and really was trying to make ends on the social aspect. I mean, that's really why I had a really weird conversation ending right before we got lined up with Drew. At least she was very truthful in a way. It was just like, I can't really work forward with you. But it was weird because, I thought she was one of the people we were trying to pull in from the people I was trying to connect with. So that's why I said the thing I said at the very, very end, just to make sure I left everything out on the table. Yeah, it just was an awesome job, awesome ride, and I'm really proud of myself just for how I played. Yeah.
You absolutely should be proud of yourself. Made it all the way to day 4,
Yeah.
first member of our jury, which
Yeah.
is no easy feat.
Yeah.
I'd love to know maybe something you're most proud of about yourself and your time out here.
I think I'm most proud of my positive attitude. I definitely could have gotten upset of having to burn my idol the way I had to, like a 5-1 vote. I could have really got upset not getting picked for Applebee's. Even today, being near the end and not really, I wouldn't have a chance to do the puzzle. That could have really shaken me up, but I didn't let it. I stayed very calm. I try to keep my positive spirit as much as possible. Still talk gameplay and strategy with people. I didn't quit. I didn't just lay down like a possum dying. So that's what I'm really proud of because I could have.
I love it. And as Queen of Ponderosa, it's always fun to go and have like a positive start because you get to set the tone and kick things off.
I am the Queen of Ponderosa.
You absolutely are. All right, Queen. I would love to know maybe something you learned about yourself in your time out here.
That's a lot. I think the number one thing I learned is just so I kind of wanted to go in as a muted version of myself. I didn't totally disclose what I do for work. I sort of did. Didn't really want to share how educated I am. But it's hard to turn that off as much as I wanted. I mean, it was a muted version of myself, but really learned to just always be your authentic self. And I think when I wasn't my authentic self, that's where it was more inorganic and not, maybe wasn't making the relationships that I wanted to make, or was authentic. So that's really what I learned is just always be true to yourself. Even if it's really scary and people are threatened by it. And, maybe one of these LRGs I play, I'll actually make the merge, but it's okay.
Love it. Well, before I let you go, again, Katie, one of the top fundraisers for this game. So this is your chance to shout out to the viewers who you were fundraising for and let everyone know who you were playing for.
That's awesome. I was playing for Give Kids the World. It's a center down outside Orlando, Florida that gives Make-A-Wish kids the best vacation of their life. Going to Disney World and Universal Studios when they're having terminally illnesses, things like that. So it's a great cause. It's a big cause in the reality TV community. So I even got a chance to volunteer there when I was in college, and it was just the most memorable experience I had. So wanted to give back, and again, really want to thank everyone who contributed. It was insane how much money I got, and it's one of those things that if I didn't get that secret advantage, I would have I would have been even more impressed. But I think I have a good community for me at home. I'm sure a lot of them have been watching, and when they said they were. So they're probably a little bit disappointed right now, but just know that I'm eternally grateful for them and for the tribe that just kicked my ass.
All right. Well, Katie, thank you so much. I'll let you head off with your handler, Barry, to kick off Ponderosa.
Right. Again, not that happy about it.
Good job.
All right, hugs all around as Katie heads on out to the jury area. So we are now in the jury phase of the game. For those of you that aren't as familiar with the way Survivor works, because you're tuning in for your loved ones, the jury will be casting votes to decide the winner of this game once it comes to an end. So it is a very important position. They will have their chance to say their piece and impact who wins this game. As a result, they are heading to a separate area where they will be sequestered from anyone voted out previously and be sequestered away from the rest of the game so that they come in, you know, not biased beyond their own experience. So we will be, sorry, I just glitched. And now we are officially in the merge portion of the game, which we saw players be excited about. This will now turn into an individual game. So you saw all of the tribe challenges that were happening before, players competing as a group, winning or losing as a group, and vulnerable as a group. They will now be moving to the individual stage of the game where they will focus on their own personal journeys to get to the end. We have an action-packed day 4 for you. It is going to be like a very long day and a very late day, but we are super excited in particular for our very last challenge of day 4. So you're definitely going to want to stay tuned in and watching all day and night long. All right, everyone, we will be back in about 15 minutes for the next challenge. So we will see you soon.